Hi everybody. Anybody here yet? I don't see any chat yet. Can you hear me okay? Hey Lori, Jean. Apparently I can't get to see this. Come on, you guys. Can you see my phone? It's not letting me do it. Can you hear me okay though? You can? All right, well then I guess I'm not going to worry about the picture part. As long as I can see the chat, then that's all that matters. Oh, that's so annoying. Huh, okay, let me try one more thing. Because I want to be able to see what you're seeing when I see, oh, my phone's in it now, I can see that. Nope, isn't that crazy? All right, well, I guess I'll see the chat, but I'll have to hope that I can see what you're doing up here. Hello, Dolly. Well, welcome, guys. I'm excited that you're all here, and I'm excited to do this one. This one's really fun. If you don't already have the Cool Treats, it is still in the new catalog. It is a wonderful bundle, and it's perfect for, well, I'm waiting for summer. Right now, it's in the 40s, and it's been raining for 24 hours. So I don't know if we're ever going to get summer here. It is filling my pool, so I guess that's good. We haven't opened it yet because it's still winter. It's the craziest weather. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what I'm going to be using tonight. And you have the supply list in the event. I know this is a little bit different than what we're used to doing. I give you the event, but I can't go live in the event. I can only go live in our group. So even though you might have signed up, you will find the supply list in there. And then I added the files to our group, so you don't have to go in 100 different places, because once the events are over, they're tough to find. But they're a good way for you to keep track of what's going on in the classroom and to know when I'm going to be here. And hi, Diane. Okay. And yes, you don't have to purchase the product to be here. As long as you're in the group, you get to watch the class. And I think that'll work out, I'm hoping, and we'll see how this goes going forward, but I'm thinking that'll work out so that if you fall in love with what you're seeing and you want to come back and watch the class after you get it, you'll still be able to do that. So that was my crazy thinking. I hope that works. So I'm using both the stamp pad tonight and the framelits. Whoops, some are sticking to my magnet over there. Okay, all right, so let's see what we've got. I put together 3 sketches, and what I do when I come up with an idea is I draw the sketch first and then go get and then actually create it. So you might see the sketch before you see the actual finished card. So in the first one, I haven't put that together yet. So let's move on to the, and I want to go through this one step by step with you, but I want to talk about the other 2. So this is sketch number 2. Whoops, and I lost my cherry down here that goes on top. Okay, this is a pretty basic card design, but as always, the card designs can be used for anything. So if you think about, you do this without this in here, you could put any stamps there. You could put any image here. You could even do it this way. and still like the card. You might want to put a longer image, a more horizontal image than these guys. Okay. I also want to talk about how I put this piece together. I didn't have the cardstock in the colors that I wanted, so I made my own using my ink, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You can use, if you look at some videos, you'll see some people use the little dauber thing that goes on your finger and you paint it. This is what I did, and it worked out super well. First thing I did was I grabbed some scraps. This is a scrap that I actually did. It is this chocolate right here, came from right here. Okay, so what do? You're going to take a piece of scrap, big enough to fit whatever you're going to pop out. Let's say I want this. No, let's do the chocolate because it'll show better for you. So I'm going to do the chocolate, so make sure that my piece is going to be big enough for the chocolate, but I don't need it huge because I don't want to waste a lot. And then I'm going to take my chocolate chip, and then really it's this easy. I'm just going to pat it down, making sure it's big enough. And there is my chocolate chip cardstock. I'm going to let that dry and wait a minute and we'll actually use it. It's that simple. Now, clearly, I don't want to do a whole sheet of it. I would use a lot of ink doing that, but it works pretty well for just these little tiny pieces. So you're also not cutting into a full sheet of cardstock. Oh, Rosemary, we can use that one too. I used that in the other card. Let me grab the other card. I moved it this morning. What did I do with it? We can do that one too. I just don't know where he went. The one that I posted in the group? He's got to be here. Where is he? Oh, here he is. This one? You want to do this guy too? We definitely can. Okay, yep, we'll do that one too. So you'll get 4 instead of 3. Okay, so you can use your white scraps to make the different colors, especially for these because they're such little pieces. Oh, absolutely, there'll be time. So pop it down, grab your, and you can do it either way. This way you can be sure that you can see what's happening, and that makes it a little bit easier. Now I'm going to show you one more thing that you can do. And now you would never know that that was a scrap that I just inked up a little bit, right? Super cool. And then this can get added onto your ice cream to add a little bit more to it. Let's do, so I did that with all of these. This is actually a leftover piece of the pattern paper. This is from, those of you that are in the paper swap, it's ordered. I just got word that it got shipped today. That paper that I'm using is actually from the Daisy, Delightfully Daisy, is that its name? Someday I'll learn all the names of these papers, but Delightful Daisy. I love this page, this whole collection of paper. You can tell it's the one I ordered first. But these are the sizes that you're going to get in the paper share, which gives you plenty to work with. And this is from the new Delightfully Daisy. Okay, so that is this card, and this is sketch number 2. So it's simply, you cut your base, and I'm kind of sticking with basic colors here because we don't have a lot of our paper yet, and I want you to be able to make something similar and not feel frustrated that you don't have what I have. Any pattern paper would work here, and you can tie it in and do all your ice cream that way if you want. Notice my bowl is kind of blah. It's not very exciting. I could, and let's see if I can do this for you. Notice this little texture deal. Watch what we can do with this. I'm just going to use the white for now because it's right here. I'm going to take my bowl, but I'm also going to pop this in the inside. And you're going to see what it looks like. And it's going to look a little funky, but we're going to make it look good. Oh, I don't like it. Never mind. I was thinking this one wouldn't cut. This one cut. I was hoping it was just going to texturize my guy, but it didn't. Never mind. Disregard. I was thinking that would be cool, that I could put the texture on there. Nope, I can't. But it was worth a try. Some of them, now if we took some of the ones from our Eastern Palace that don't cut through, we might be able to use those. Kathy's asking, I don't have the Big Shot, so would I use the same order for normal dies if I use the Cuttlebug? So in other words, you're going to put the same sandwich together for the thin metal dies. Yes. Okay. The one thing I have found, and you notice I use the Big Shot all the time, even though I do too on the Cuttlebug, is the Big Shot gives more pressure. Yes. I think so, Kathy. I haven't tested it, but I think that would be right. Okay, sorry I got distracted with my bowl. Let's see what we have in our stamp set. We could stamp our texture. That would work. We have the really interesting, we could use this one. Okay, so let's make this. We're going to make our own designed paper. Now, you know I should be telling you that you have to go out and buy it, right? If I was going to be salesman of the month, that's what I'd be making you do. I'm not. So don't worry. Buy the things you need to buy. Make the things that you can make. So again, take a little scrap, which I'm all out of scraps right now. I only have used too many. Let me bring you some. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm going to use 2. I'm going to use the crumb cake, so I'm going to create crumb cake paper. All right, so let's do that first. Okay, so there's crumb cake paper. And I'm going to let that dry. And then in the meantime, I'm going to get out some chocolate chip, which is, you know, a little darker. And I'm going to use this texture. It's the ice cream cone texture. And I'm just going to ink this up. I can't get above it and show it to you on the camera, so it's not as good. I would line it up nice and even, which you can look down through and see. but I'm just going to make it kind of all over and get my texture. All right. Now, if you want to line those up perfectly good, you can. Or you can just do it like I did, kind of messy Bessie. And now, I'm going to take you, pop my bowl on top, and run this through. And now my bowl has texture and has a design on it, right? Super easy. All on white cardstock, okay? So, experiment, play with your inks, see what other things that you can do with them, and don't be stymied thinking, well, I don't have any brown. Make your own brown. All right, so that's this one. I used dimensionals under here, dimensionals under my ice cream, but not on my bowl. To add my chocolate, my fudge sauce, there we go. Now I need to add my cherry. And there's my card, okay? Hey Gwen, welcome. Oh good, well I'm glad you got it, Kath. It really is an experiment. And I'll tell you, it's one of the reasons the Cuttlebug makes me nuts. Okay, so there's that one. Next, this one I thought was really interesting. I had seen someone else do something similar. And what I wanted to do was basically make it look like I had used an embossed look. And it's done by simply adding white die cuts. So I'm going to run just my ice cream cone. Now I could do the cone with detail if I want, or just plain. I did just plain because I had to do a bunch of them. And I use this one on the top. Watch what you get. And if you scatter these, and in this sketch you'll notice I've started using that kind of starbursty thing to stand for an embellishment of some sort in the sketches. So here's this, and I'm going to pop this down on my white, and if I do it without any dimensionals and I just use my adhesive, it gives you the look that it's just been run through an embossing folder when it really isn't. Okay, so that's how this guy is done. So I've got my A2 card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then I have 2 layers, a color and then the white. When you put these on, if you don't position, whoops, let me get it so you can see it. If you don't position them perfect and you have them hanging off a little bit, then you're going to trim it. You just flip it over and you cut off the excess. And so it looks more like it's embossed rather than you just stuck white ice cream cones on here. Okay, yes, this is recorded. It will be in this group. So that's how this one is. This is the ice cream cone, and I use the flat bottom one, which is right here, and that already has the texture as part of the die. And then an ice cream scoop, and then the topping. Then I grabbed my itty bitty little Wink Stella, and I'm going to make this shiny, because you know how when you go to the ice cream place and you can get the hard shell. What is that called? It has a good name. I don't remember now. Oops. Is this the wrong one? It's the wrong one. It's the one I haven't opened yet. Let's take the one that I've opened. There, much better. Magic shell, that's it, Rosemary. You're right, and it's crunchy. So I want that shiny. While we're talking about it, Wink of Stella, when it comes to you, it comes looking like this and it has this black ring around the middle. You have to pop that out. When you take that off, then your Wink of Stella will come out. So if your Wink of Stella is looking like this, it isn't really open yet. It does have directions, but you know we don't read those. And then I'm going to add the strawberry because I think it's the cutest little thing I've ever seen on top. And this card is good to go. Your Sweet is a two-part stamp, so you can do the two different colors. Anything chocolate. I know, it's too good. Okay, so now we're going to build card number 1. And card number 1 looks like a bunch of pieces and strips and all this other stuff. Here's the base. And then I've got this piece that's going to go here. And then I have my vertical pieces of pattern paper. They're 1x3s. And you're thinking, oh, how do you get those straight? That's going to look really crazy. Well, first of all, I'm going to start with this little strip that is going to go all the way across, right? But I don't want it to go all the way across. It's a little bit smaller. If you look at the image, look at your sketch, you can see that you have 1x3, 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 right? So that's 4 inches. So this little strip should be 4 inches. So I'm going to cut that first. Let me show, I'm just going to cut and I'll bring it over. Okay. So this is the size that I want my piece of pattern papers to be inside here. All right. I'm going to take you out. I'm going to run a strip of adhesive. Now, it depends on what you're comfortable with. I am not the most liquid adhesive kind of girl. I like my snail. Run it down. Make sure it's all nice and sticky. And then the only reason that liquid is better is it's a little more forgiving. It gives you a chance to move it. And I'm going to line this up right flat to the edge. All right. I've committed. There's one. Now I'm going to take the next one and I'm going to do my best to line it up. But I'm not going to freak out if I don't. And there's 2. Here comes 3. And if you hold it at the bottom, move it over tight, you still have an opportunity to fix this if it's not quite right. Okay, so it looks pretty good, but notice my little piece of yellow is sticking out there, and I'm not quite straight here. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring my trimmer in. And I'm going to make this straight because this is just going to go in the inside. It just has to be straight. Now, this is kind of like cutting the leg off a crooked table. Don't get carried away or you'll end up cutting too much. See, I just took a little trim off of that. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. This has just this little tiny piece right here. I'm going to do the same with this piece, so I make sure I have perfectly straight edges. Whoops, I'm going to get rid of you first. Now you could do that with your scissor. Where's this that I didn't do? You? I don't remember if I did you or not yet. You want to be sure that you're holding this really tight. It's tough with not getting my head under the camera, but we got it. Now, when you're done, you're sure that you have a nice straight piece to go the way you want. Then you can flip it over and add your adhesive back here. Because a lot of times when I put this down on the card, I don't get them exactly where I want them, and then I'm stuck. So this gives me the opportunity to get them exactly where I want them. And they're going to go on this yellow. Right? Then we have this piece that's going to go this way, but I'm going to stamp on it, so I'm going to do that first. And then that's going to go there, and I'm going to build my ice cream cone in there. Now, I don't know whether I want an ice cream cone, whether I want popsicles. I can do whatever I want because I've got options. But I love including, and these are all the different patterns from that Delightfully Daisy. So I'm going to decide which one of my sentiments. I think Happiest Birthday might look kind of cool on there, and it will fit. That's why I'm going to stamp it first, so then I know exactly where I'm going to position it when I put that banner in. Something we're going to work on this month is using the exact color of the cardstock to stamp on it. It really looks neat. It looks really almost embossed. It's kind of a cool look, but we'll do that with a different one. I'm going to give you some dimensionals. And now I'm ready to add you, and I'm going to build my ice cream cone right there, or whatever I'm going to build. Let's see, what shall we do? I haven't used the popsicle. Maybe I'll use the popsicle on this one. We could. Okay, the popsicles are kind of cool because they're the stamping off. Now we've done this with the cupcake one, but it's been a while. So remember how that works. Let me get myself some stamps here. Some blocks, I mean. So we have a couple of options. We have one that doesn't have a bite out of it, and we have one that does have a bite out of it. And I'm going to show you two different ways to do these. Because notice we have a die. This goes with the bite one. This guy doesn't have one. So we're going to Get our white cardstock out here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp this guy. And this is really experimental. You just have to play with this and see which ones you like better. I want to stamp it off here first. And then stamp. Do that again. I don't like the way it came out. So stamp off. You have to be really sure that you get good solid pressure so that you don't get a dot in the middle. And then stamp off. Okay, now this one I pushed too hard. See what happened? So let's try one more. And maybe you like him the bright color that he is without stamping it off. Much better. All right, so you just kind of play with it till you get what you like, and then we're going to cut it out and see what happens. Now, part of the problem is I have to look. The stick is going to go into this guy, so I don't want that to happen. I'm not going to worry about the stick for this one. What I can do is I could have used my little ink idea to give me the stick the color I wanted. Okay, and then I'm going to take, where's the one? Oh, it's right here. This gives it the definition. You know how popsicles have that kind of indent in them? Now remember, because I stamped off, this is going to be brighter. I need to bring you here for a minute. I hope you guys can still see. I have brown ink on me, but to give it that shadow in the middle. And then I'm gonna just take my, I'm showing you every way possible to work with these ink pads tonight because I just want you to see them. This is the Aqua Painter. Going to get a little bit of water in here. Just a little bit. But it's going to make my brush tip, you can see the water come down in there and drip on your work. Hold on. You don't want to do that. All right. And now I want to get that stem the color I want. So I'm going to open up my crumb cake. And I'm just going to get a little bit of it on my painter. And you can see that it works like the marker. Now, because I had this, I had stamped this already. It's a little bit darker than what I would normally want, but we can live with it. If you had not, just show you on this one. Okay, that's what aqua painters do. They also work with your watercolors on watercolor paper. If you want to use the markers are really cool. Love them. I want to show you what they do. And they all coordinate and match. You just have to pick out which one is which, and sometimes you can't see very well. This is Crumb Cake. They come with two tips. One is a fine point, and this one is more of a coloring, more of a painting tip. And that's what they do. So if you are into coloring, they're great to work with. And then you can take your aqua painter and kind of blend, or you can use your blender. All right, so those are some ways to get color if you don't have all the cardstock that you think that you need. You can use the markers, the ink, or the actual stamp. Okay, let me go back to where I was. Another way to, so this was done, we stamped and then we cut. All right, so let's try this way. And it depends on what you like. Everybody has a personal preference, so I'm trying to show you as many ways as possible. You can cut and then stamp. It's a little trickier because you have to hold it in place. But let's say we're going to use this one. And then I'm going to take the coordinating stamp, which is right here. And I'm going to stamp it on it. Now I don't want to make a mess of my pad, so I'm going to put it on there. Bring it back so you can see it. And you're going to line her up. So it really depends on what you like. But you have the choices to either stamp first and then cut, or cut and then stamp. Personally, I think it's easier to stamp and then cut, because sometimes you mess up your stamp and you have options to just keep stamping rather than you've cut it all out and then it's not exactly what you wanted. But some people do it both ways. But I like to stamp first and then cut. Yeah. Especially when you're using the magnetic plate. Now, if you don't have a magnetic plate and you want to make sure that your die stays right in place, remember you can use washi tape to hold it. So you would make sure I'm still on the camera. You're going to stamp. And then cut. Now the problem with this is, I do it every time, is I stamp too close to the edge. Remember, we have that stick to attend to. Remember to leave room for that. Pop you in, and your stick goes there. And there's your, so I guess I don't really see a big difference between the two, but I like this one. I think this one's better. I think it makes sure that you get your edges covered. See, my edges aren't covered here, but my edges here look awesome. Whoa, if I bring it over so you can see it. My edges look great. I was talking about this the other day when I was talking about having been a Cricut person forever, and I can't get over the way die cuts look when they come through the Big Shot or the Cuttlebug. When you use these dies, the edges are finished. With a Cricut, they're cut nice and straight, they're intricate, they're amazing, but when you run them through the Big Shot or the Cuttlebug, it impresses them. It curves the edges down ever so slightly so that it makes them, I don't know, I just really like the way they feel. It's all about the feel. So I have this circle to build my ice cream on however I want it. I could just do a couple of popsicles. I could build my ice cream sundae, which would look great on there. I use the 2.5 inch stitched circle framelit. Thinlit. So we were talking about that the other day too. Thinlits are just the thickness of the die. They're the same. The die actually feels the same. Framelits were designed to go around something. So this is a framelit because it's designed to frame that stamp set. This is a thinlit because it doesn't go with any particular stamp. They're rounded, right? There is something about the edge. There really is. They're super cool. I love it. All right, now I wonder if this ice cream would go in there. It's kind of big, but let's see what it looks like. Let's give it a color first. I haven't used the Sweet Sugar Plum yet. Ooh, that's kind of deep. Let's try that. You have to let them dry a little bit because you don't want to get it on your die or on yourself. So don't let that happen. But I've got these that I inked earlier. I wonder if I can. No. Well, you might work if I tuck you in. Watch, this is another way to use up scraps. And you're thinking, well, that doesn't really work. And sometimes the magnet just makes it go wherever it wants to go. You just kind of move it till you get it. Stop being so temperamental. There. You're thinking, well, it didn't, no, you're going to have white on the bottom. I am, but I'm going to use this in my dish, so I'm going to tuck it underneath, and I'm okay. So even though I didn't have a full-on inked space big enough, it worked out okay because I kind of tucked it underneath. And I need a brighter color now. Let's just do a white one. No, I don't want a white one. Let's do our Peekaboo Peach. So I'm building my ice cream that's going to go in the middle. And there we go. Okay, really pretty easy. And now it's waiting for sprinkles, and it's waiting for a little bit of Wink of Stella, a little bit of extra. Needs some sprinkles and some chocolate sauce, but we'll be good. All right, so there's the 3 cards. Let's look at the one, I posted this one earlier on our group. And this is done again using your basic, let me clean up a little bit here, your basic base. And I did the same thing with the 3 scattered popsicles. I have my, I need to look at my sizes. I'm saying it like I know what they are. I don't. Hold on, let me look. But that's why I love sketches too, because I have the dimensions on them so that we can see them. And you can come back to it as many times as you need and use that same card design for something else. And tomorrow night is the May sketches that I have promised you forever. Okay. So the pink one is four by 5 1/4. So I'm going to take my white card and cut that one. And that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when it's folded. Oh, and this piece of paper is not the right size, but let's start again. Wait a minute, I thought I had one that was the right one, but it's not. Hold on. Cut and score super quick. All right, there's our base. Now the next one I said was 4 by 5 1/4. And where's that paper that I have right here? This is from the Pick a Pattern paper, which I think is super cute. I really do like it. And it's got like really cute patterns on the front, but then nice great solids on the back. So you could do either way. I used pink and then the green. And the pink that I used, oh, there's so many cool new pinks. I wanted to show you these two while we're here. Look at these new colors. Well, they're not new. These are the cardstock colors. They're awesome. So the pinks, when they added new colors, the new in colors. So we now have, if you're a pinky person, we have Pink Pirouette, Blushing Bride, the Coral, Calypso Coral is pinky too. Oh, nope, that's Flirty Flamingo. This is one of the new in colors. This is Powder Pink. I mean, really, to die for, right? If you're a pink kind of person. Really great colors. Where is my Calypso Coral? Oh, there it is. I guess that is orangey. Hold on. That's the Calypso Coral. So, I mean, I just love all of them, to be perfectly honest. I think they're really cool. But anywho, we're going to use a Calypso Coral. We did use Flirty Flamingo before, but we're going to go with this one. And I want it to be 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut 5 1/4. My trimmer's right over here. I just don't have a ton of room under the camera, so I'm just trimming away. So there's that one. And now I need 3.5 by 4 3/4, and I use the green. So let's grab that at 3.5 by 4 3/4. So there's 3.5. And there's the green. And then we've got the next one on top, which is 3.25 by 4.5. Just a little bit smaller. Come on, buddy. Little bear. And there's that one. Okay. So now we're ready. There's our base of our card. Can you see? Yes, you can. And this is just a little strip that's across. It's 3.5 by 1/2 inch. And I used it from the coral that I had left over. I used what I had left over from this base. And I cut another one. Let me show you how to make that happen. It's 1/2 inch. And how long are you? 3.5. 3.5. And if you're wondering where this sketch is, it is in the class, in the group. There's that. And then we're going to grab my handy dandy triple punch, crazy punch that I use all the time. And I'm going to run my 1/2 inch wide strip through it. A little trickier to cut a 1/2 inch strip. Takes me a minute to get it lined up, but you can. And then you're thinking, well, the punch doesn't really work that skinny. Well, it does if you just line it up right in the middle. Even though there isn't a space for it, you just put it right in the middle. Let me get it up here so you can see. Just get it right smack in the middle of the 1 inch base. Really make sure you're in there. Kathy, I use it 1,000 times. You got to make sure you're in the middle or it doesn't work. And then you can get, even though it's little, you get the right one. So you go there, just snip this off, and you go here. And now I'm ready to stamp on the I hope your day is as sweet as you are. And then add your popsicles to the top of the card. Right? Super easy. But it comes out looking really cute. All right. Anybody have any other questions? If you look in our group, not in the event, in the group, under the file section, you will find the sketches that I used in the class tonight. And then the sketch for this guy, he's in the classroom too, but you know what? Don't download this yet. I'll add him to this page so you can have all 4 of them together. And let me upload it again. Okay, so give me a little bit and I'll upload that again tonight, and it will have all 4 of them on this one page, and you won't have to print out 2 things. Okie doke. All right, everybody, have a great night. And I can't wait to see your cool treats. Post some of your cards and share them with us in the Facebook group. We'd love to see them. Remember, it's the VIP group. It's not a zillion people. It's just us. And it's a great opportunity to see what we're all up to. Oh, one more thing. The idea that I had about bring a friend, it sounds like a Saturday's a good day. So I'll look at the calendar and see which one will work for me, and I'll give you 2 options. I'd like to do it this month. I know it's crazy busy for everyone. Once the summer goes, starts the kickoff, we just get crazy with graduations and birthdays, and I understand if you can't do it, but I think it would be fun to introduce some new friends. Kathy, that's why you use your ink, and then you don't have to worry that it matches. You make your own paper. Have a great night, you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.